Support rigorous academic preparation, again, making sure they're in the right classes. The more rigorous classes they can get in, the better chance they're going to have for success in college and beyond. And equity and access to post-secondary education, a lot of that, I would say, for me, revolves around getting kids enrolled in some type of college class before they leave high school. So they have that experience with what a college class expectation is before they walk out our doors.
And so then one of our assignments was to develop a mission statement. And so we aligned our mission with the mission statement. And if you read that and think about what Mrs. Kudoff was talking about earlier, just the idea of, our mission is that we want all of our kids to have the competencies in academics, career, personal, and social development, to reach their greatest potential in the preparation for lifelong learning in a changing world. And because that's what we're facing. And so we understand that that's challenging, but yet it's part of what we're working to help the kids be able to do. So part of the components of our comprehensive school counseling program then is the foundation, kind of with our mission statement, the delivery system, which has 4 components that we'll talk about in a minute, managing it, and then always accountability. Is what we're doing working? And if not, how are we going to change it so that it will?
We're going to talk more, we're going to focus, I guess, more on the delivery system. The first part we want to talk to, and there's different categories in the delivery system, but first one is curriculum that is for everyone. We have individual student planning, and that could be way down into the middle school. I might have to adjust or adapt somebody's schedule based on their needs, and it goes through the high school as well. Responsive services, when there's anything be from a crisis to some kind of an issue at school, we're there for the responsive services. And then system support, which we kind of already talked about, was just throughout the building.
Now, in this delivery part of the system, the amount of time that we spend in each one of those components depends on the level that we're at. I spend a lot more time in the curriculum than Jen does. She's more in individual student planning than I am. I'm not sitting with kids having them figure out what they're going to, how they're going to get ready for college. I'm in the classroom, like I said, once a week teaching the kids. And then as you go up, it's just the different changes according to the age of the kids and the needs of the kids. So just so you understand, just because those are the delivery systems don't mean we all do the same thing. It depends on what level we're at.
The first one is the curriculum. And we just picked one thing that each of us do at our level instead of describing like a whole year's worth. Like Becky's talked about conflict resolution that she works in the elementary with the kids. In the middle school, I talk a lot about the 6 pillars of character education, and I try to incorporate those soft skills into that. In the high school, a lot of Jen's focuses on that career research.
Another big piece of the high school is individual student planning. It is legislation now that every student, once they enter high school, have to have a 4-year plan on file. And basically what that is just a map, a guide for them to use through high school so they know what they need to take to get through high school and on with their life and to the career or college of their choice. It's not written in stone. We change it and look at it every year when they redo their schedule every year.
What did she skip?
Am I already supposed to?
Yeah.
You should know, I've never seen this before, so I'm like their worst
And
enemy.
we kind of quit giving you signals.
Yeah, we went jumping.
Responsive services is another part of our delivery system. We do lots of consultation with students and teachers, parents as well. Small group counseling, Becky does more of that than Jen and I, but if there's a need that arises, that we're available for that. Individual counseling, I'd say all 3 of us do lots of that. Crisis counseling response, that could be anything from an automobile accident where a student is killed to something even smaller than that, more of just something that happened in the building that day, something with the students. Referrals, we make referrals when the need is beyond us, that maybe the student needs some more mental health help. We make referrals outside of our school agency. We also make referrals into our own community with counseling services, and we try to collaborate with those. And then something new that we're doing this year is the wraparound process, and that was thanks to Becky, and the SAC Elementary Building got a grant. They're a pilot project, and it's something that we're really trying to work with parents to wrap the community around this group of this parent to help them with their family and the needs of their child. And we're seeing some good success with that. We've even kind of trickled into the middle school with that with one family. System support is another area. School Counselor Academy, that's what we're doing this for. We're reviewing all the things that we do, and part of it is making this PowerPoint. So we go, I think, in April again for third time of the year. We participate in professional development, and we already said that we're in a professional learning community as well as everybody is, and the staff in different professional learning communities. Consultation, again, it can be for the staff or it can be for students. Collaboration, we do lots of collaboration with either teachers, like again, outside of school agencies, with administrators, just parents, lots of different types of collaboration. Teaming, and then program management operation. We're constantly assessing what we're doing and is it working, what do we need to do more of, what we need to do less of. Sometimes we need to learn to say no, those kinds of things.
Flashlight approach. One of the things they're teaching us to look at is, not just what does the program offer, but how are kids different because there's a counseling program at our school. And so what we're looking at is, this is just kind of one example. There are lots of other examples, but this is one example. So kind of taking a flashlight and shining it in on this example to kind of give you an idea of how we think students are better because you have certified counselors managing a comprehensive school counseling program. So the issue that we talked about was the idea that we have kids who feel not the greatest about transitioning to a new building. The fourth graders going to fifth grade, to the middle school, and then eighth graders moving on to high school. And so what we're looking at is, it fits the American School Counselor's Standard A, that we want students to be able to acquire the attitudes, knowledge, and skills that contribute to effective learning in school and across the lifespan. So if kids can learn to make that transition and think better about that, that's something that they can take with them and use. We need to have data, so we develop a pre- and post-test. And so some example questions, I feel prepared for middle school, or I feel prepared for high school, depending on the grades that we're given it to. Or I believe I'll do well in my schoolwork in middle school, or I believe I'll do well in my schoolwork in high school. So we're asking for some attitudes. What is their attitude about that transition? How are they feeling about it right now? This is before we teach a lesson. So we get their attitude about that. And then our goal is we want to help our 4th and 8th grade students feel prepared to make that transition to the next building. So I think then you can flip to the next slide. So then we'll teach, we have a plan to teach 3 lessons. I've started at the 4th grade level, and we'll be working with the 8th graders. Started by giving the pre-test and a video about what middle school life will be like. We're developing a PowerPoint that we're going to present to the 4th graders and then to the 8th graders about what does the lunchroom look like? What does the hallway look like? What are some teachers that you're going to see over there? So some pictures. Trisha's actually going to come over to the elementary, and we're going to present that second lesson together so that they start to see her and be able to ask some questions and get some questions answered. And then the third transition lesson will be bringing the kids together so they can meet each other, because not only do we have them going to a new building, we're going to take the kids from the Wall Lake building and the SCcac building and put them together in the middle school setting. So part of the transition on the third lesson will be them meeting and doing activities and getting to know each other. Then we'll take them to the middle school building and do a tour, kind of like we talked about doing a mock schedule where they might follow a schedule so they can feel like, oh, I can make it to a class and not get lost, or I'll know where the restroom is when I need to go. And then be able to sit down with some kids in the middle school and ask them questions. We've administered the pre-test, and before teaching the unit, 36% of the 4th graders in the SCcac City building, didn't get the information from the Wall Lake building yet, feel prepared for the middle school. So then what we'll do is after teaching the unit, I've got the question marks there because we're not sure yet, but then we'll administer the post-test and look, is there a change then in how they feel about being prepared for the middle school? And that's just a sample of the questions. We asked a lot of different questions on the pre-test.